how are we different from some of the other services both in the private sector as well as from the government? One of the most popular ones is of course ITC eChopal, which has been working for quite some time, and recently we have other service providers like Reuters Marketlight and Fussel, which also do something very similar. TCS also has something called as M-Krishi, through which they send out advisory information such as weather reports and mandi prices. Similarly, government also has several portals, like for example the Farmers Portal, the PEDA Exporters Directory, and a lot of work which has been done by the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University in Coimbatore, which has portals on agri technologies and as well as directories of farmers. In brief summary, how we are similar and how we are different is as follows. Most of these portals are focusing still on sending mandi prices, which is basically the middleman's prices. We feel that this has to change because farmer has to set their own prices. So we do not broadcast the mandi prices of any of the products. To give a simple example, for example, if you take a classroom and there are some very brilliant students and there are very average students and some troublemakers. Suppose this teacher comes and gives the same grade to everybody. First of all, what is going to happen is the brighter students will feel very dejected and their performance will start falling. This is exactly is happening with what the mandi price system, where the mandi or the middleman sets a common price based on just arrivals in the market rather than on the quality or the performance of the particular farmer, which is why we feel that all the farmers, regardless of whatever they do, since they all get the same price, they're no longer motivated to do something better. So we want to do something different. We want to take the farmer's price and broadcast it out to the buyers, and we also feel that each farmer can set their own price based on their quality and also the kind of credibility they have built into the system. So a tomato is not the same coming from Mr. A or Mr. B or Mr. C, because each of them is going to be different. Just like, for example, a car from Tata is different from BMW, is different from Skoda, because each of them has their own features. We don't have just a single price for all the cars just because they all have four wheels and a driving wheel. A lot of the functionality of eFarm is highly dependent on what the farmer actually wants. So we have spent a lot of time actually sitting with farmers themselves and talking to them and arriving at what functionality they need. The first one is of course more choice of buyers, which is what the first phase of the portal is going to look at. They also have a lot of issues with rising input prices and black marketing of a lot of the products, which is why we are giving them a choice of different input suppliers through the portal. The third most important thing of course is labor, because a lot of the landless labor has shifted to the city, so they do not have anybody, especially during crucial periods such as harvest and seeding stages. Right now the only people staying in the villages and working on the farm is the farmer and his own family himself. So some of the immediate urgent measures we are taking is trying to map one farmer with another farmer, because typically when one person is harvesting tomato, his neighbor may be free because he is harvesting rice or paddy, which may not have the same seasonal duration. Right now all the farmers, when they are free, they come to the nearest town and start working as laborers, menial laborers, as watchmen, or washing and different industries. So we want to stop that so that the migration from village to cities start coming down, so that each farmer starts helping out the other person for a small fee. So that way the cost of labor starts coming down. Slowly we also want to get into the lorry segment, which is primarily highly unorganized once again. A lot of you know that in the city we have call cabs and call taxis which have become extremely popular. These call taxis are not operated by the company. This is actually a call center, and all these individual taxi drivers subscribe to that service. They get a GPS receiver fitted in. So that way as a consumer, when you call the call taxi system, it gets routed to the nearest cab person who is free. So that way the cab driver gets a maximum utilization of the cab. He does not have to worry about when the next customer is going. A lot of it is managed behind the scene by systems. So that way, like, every cab driver makes sure that he gets a certain amount of money. Whereas in the lorry industry, or even if you can take the example of the auto rickshaw walas, such a system does not exist, which is why they still keep demanding for a lot of things. There are a lot of issues and haggling and hassling right now happening. Similarly, the farmer also has to haggle with the lorry driver every single day. The prices keeps on varying based on the demand and supply, and often since the village to city distance is quite large, and often the lorry driver has to come back to his village, they often charge double. So that way all of these costs are getting pushed back to the farmer, and ultimately these all arrive at prices as a consumer on our heads. So by making the transport system more optimized so that the system takes care of the loading, and we find business for the lorry driver on the reverse direction. So that way we slowly feel that the lorry system of India will also start getting more optimized, so that the cost of transportation will start coming down, making it more efficient and more efficient. A lot of initiatives, even though it starts off as assisting the farmers, we have realized that there is a slight vested interest which starts playing into the game, because since everybody is trying to penetrate the rural segment, since the urban markets are completely saturated, so getting the mobile number of a farmer has become very crucial. So a lot of these services, even though they start off as free, they use the mobile number and start sending information to the farmer as SMSs and broadcasts and all that, which we feel is not correct. So we do not sell the data, because we feel that the farmer's data is very important and needs to be kept private, and we only send information which the farmer requests for, like if he wants buyers, if he wants input suppliers. Only based on the call coming from the farmer we send him information. Otherwise we don't broadcast any generic information to any of our customers. A lot of the initiatives from the corporate sector, even though they have done some great inroads, a lot of it is done by their corporate social responsibility team, which basically means they are not looking at it at a financial level, but more at a feel-good kind of factor. Like all of you know, CSR initiatives have their own ups and downs. When the market is good, they have budgets. If the market is bad, usually it's just a one-man team going around trying to create a public relations exercise. So we basically want to feel that yes, we can work with some of these corporates, but eFarm as an entity, this is not a CSR initiative we are doing. The entire company's focus is to assist farmers in their marketing, and that is our bread and butter. That is 100% of the time, that is what we are focused on. So that way our financial and social objectives are exactly the same.